This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Grosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network Open Mic, First and 10 with Foz, Main Event Football Show, Prime Sports World, The Man Cave, Prim and Proper Sports. Spitballing Podcast, Lions Fan Cave Chat, Puckett, 313 Den Podcast, The Guys Huddle, Shots from the Sideline, Let's Talk Sports, The Michigan Truth Sports Podcast, Off the Rails, NFC Northeast, Power Hours, and Detroit Lions News. Make sure you follow, like, share, subscribe, and comment. Hope you like all the shows.
Yeah, it's another Saturday morning, and it's another edition of the Sports Wrap Show. My name is Ralph Williams, and I got some Chicago for you there. Saturday in the park. Today, Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty there at the women's Final Four down in Tampa. But today, we have some fill-ins here today. Last week, we had Brian Pettit on. Brian, welcome back to the program. Covers Clemson sports, and he's from TS Media. And Ray Fittipaldo from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, who covers the Pittsburgh Steelers. All right. We are brought to you in part by our studio sponsor here at Studios 808 in the Allentown section of the city of Pittsburgh, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. You ought to call Mata 724-2010-500, Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. We're show number 2 of the triple header of Ralph's Saturday right here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, also on Twitch, and on the Huddle Sports Network. And I believe Brian has his YouTube channel, and we're on his channel as well. So, all right, folks, let's get started here with our introductions. Ray Fittipaldo, tell everybody about yourself. I didn't get a hold of you.
Yeah, on Twitter or X, it's at RayFit1 and postgazette.com, post-gazette.com. That's where you'll find all of my Steelers coverage throughout every week.
All right. We have Cyberuski. Good morning to him as well. And let's see what we got for him there. Oh, well, I'm sorry about that, Cyberuski. No, it's not squeak, squeak, squeak. All right. There we go. All right. Yep, that's right. Exactly, Cyberuski. So welcome to the comment section. Glad you're on this morning. Great to have you on as well. Let me see what else we got here. All right. No, it's not. Not anymore. No more. It's called the Sports Wrap, Cyberuski. All right, let's get started here. We're going to start off with a unusual subject here, and it's about the A's and the Rays. And the reason I call it the A's and the Rays is because they're playing in two different stadiums this year, and we're going to see how each team is doing. But this segment's brought to you in part by Alex's Flowers. Call Alex today, 412-661-6071. And also this segment's brought to you by Lessons from the Microphone, Scott Morganroth's book, Tuning into Enduring Wisdom and Visionary Leaders, 45 years in the media business as well. All right, we had a few deaths in the Pittsburgh media this past couple weeks. Dave James from KDK, and I want to send my condolences out to his family. Jim Quinn, who was a well-known talk show host here in Pittsburgh. Ray will tell you about him a little bit. Ray and I know Jim Quinn, or have known him over the years. He was a very controversial talk shows, not just in Pittsburgh, but nationally as well. So I want to send my condolences to his family as well. And I think there was one more today, but I can't remember the name of the person, but there was one more today who passed away that I just found out about. So, so there you are. Anyway, all right. How does the shoe not? All right. Yeah, exactly. start and not discuss Ovechkin. All right, let's do that right now. How about that? Let's switch to Alex Ovechkin. He's about to break Wayne Gretzky's record. I wish Sidney Crosby could do it, but it looks like Ovechkin's going to get there. Ray, your thoughts. We'll start with you.
Yeah, it's almost like you can't talk about Ovechkin without talking about Crosby because they came in at the same time. Ovechkin, obviously the pure goal scorer. I think Crosby, viewed by most, and I think probably as the better overall player. How can you take anything away from Ovechkin? A couple of down years, a few years ago, and then he bounces back. He's got 41 now, one more to break the record. He's a little bit behind Crosby on Stanley Cups. He's got to get 2 more just to tie Crosby on Stanley Cups. He probably wants that more, but this record will be a nice little thing in the trophy case for him.
Yeah, I actually kind of agree with you on that, Ray, and I just wish that Crosby was way ahead of Ovechkin, but that's not happening. When he's a great player. He's played for the same team for a long time, just like Crosby's played for the Penguins. So it's a great thing to deal with, to have that as well. All right. Okay, Brian, your thoughts, Alex Ovechkin and his possible breaking of Wayne Gretzky's record.
Well, records are meant to be broken. Way Konvinsky, I haven't watched much of the hockey, but the way they're sounding is he's really good in my view. So, you got to look at all the records that have been there for years and years and years. You're going to have these records broken. So I'm not surprised. But like you said, Ray, I would go for the champ. I would go more for the Stanley Cup more than just the records by itself. So, that's what I would do. If I was trying to break the record, I want more the Stanley Cup than I would any kind of other record. I want those rings. That means more important because when you go into the Hall of Fame, that's more impressive. It's any sport more impressive than anything else.
And they're going to have a shot. Right. They're one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference. They're going to be one of the favorites going in.
They're always a good team, Ray. They've been a good team for years. I don't care who coaches the team there. The Capitals have always been one of those types of teams over the many years. Good morning, gentlemen, from Tampa, Florida, in the women's Final Four. Tomorrow, UConn versus South Carolina. Scott's getting some great content. Oh, yes, absolutely. Scott always does. He goes to those press conferences, and he asks his tough questions, and then he'll air it here. So we'll see some of his stuff on the South Florida Tribune Network as well. And also, I'll be posting it on X as well. So Cyberewski's, let's see what he has to say here. He says, what's going on, Candy? And, she's posting for the South Florida Tribune. Scott Morgan, Leo Haggerty are both at the women's Final Four. All right, let's talk about the Final Four and the men's side of things. It's interesting. We have we have some teams that are involved in this, and we have some number 1 seeds that are involved: Auburn, Duke, Florida, and Houston. Guys, who takes this? We'll go with you, Brian. Let's start with you.
Well, I don't think from today's game, if you look at Duke and Houston, I don't see how Houston is going to beat Duke. There's not a way. Cooper Flagg is the most talented guy right now in probably college sports as a basketball player. So if there might be a way, I don't know, but I don't see them beating Duke. And on the other side of Florida versus Auburn, I just think that Florida is a lot more talented than Auburn. So my 2 final picks would be going into the Monday night would be Duke versus Florida. And I think that Duke could pull it out, but I'm not sure still. It's kind of up in the head with me. It's 50-50 right now. I don't know. But that's my 2. Right. That's my 2, though.
Okay. Great, Brian. Thank you. Ray Fittipaldo, go ahead. Final Four, your thoughts.
Yeah, Ralph, I'm on Duke too. I kind of think, the Auburn-Florida game, I don't view Auburn. They might be more talented, but when you look at the way Auburn plays, they're a very difficult team to play against. So I think in many respects, if Auburn can get the win today, I think they would pose a bigger threat to Duke on Monday night. So I'm going to go Duke-Auburn. I still think Duke gets it done, but I do think Auburn can give them a little bit of a battle if it does get to that point on Monday.
All right, I want to thank everyone who's watching today on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, X platforms, the Huddle Sports Network, and also on Brian's TS Media as well on his YouTube channel. And also, I want to thank the South Florida Tribune for contributing to the show today, Josh Dorr and Cyberuski also as well. You can also contribute with your comments. Also, we have a mailbag, Ralph Williams, 737@gmail.com. All right, we're here in the Sports Wrap Show. We're here every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Earlier, the first show of the triple header of Ralph Williams Saturday, we had the Ralph Williams Tony Moreno show, and all we get emails is a bunch of criers, and we'll talk later. I'm not going to talk about that show here. This is sports, but this afternoon, 2 to 3 p.m., the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudio Rosano, and Luther Dupree. Also, if you want to see the four of us, don't forget on April 24th, which is the first night of the NFL draft, we will be at this event for Draft Nation. They're having an event, a draft event at the Rivers Casino. We start at the time of the draft. Actually, you can get in there a little early. Also, you can stop by the casino and maybe a couple of the eateries there as well. And it'll be myself, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, Luther Dupree. I'm working on having us do a live broadcast, special live broadcast on my YouTube channel right from the draft there at the Rivers Casino. The four of us are going to give our opinion about everything involving the Steeler draft. They worked out, Ray can tell us later on, they worked out Jackson Dart this week, see what was going on with him, interviewed him, gave him the Wonder League test. Mike Tomlin took him to Burger King or something for a Whopper or whatever, that kind of thing. So, but anyway, Ray, I wanted to let you know, my friend, this happened about 3-4 months ago. He was going through Burger King over on the South Side. Guess who was in front of him? Mike Tomlin.
Mike, that is, I don't know if it's a daily staple of Mike Tomlin, but I know on Tuesdays before his news conference, he comes into the facility with a big greasy bag from Burger King. And Ralph, you know this. Anyone who lives in Pittsburgh knows this. I think that's the only Burger King within the city limits right there on the South Side. So Tomlin has easy access, and I think he's a big Whopper fan.
Yeah, I stopped eating there a long time ago. I had some issues with some food there, so I don't eat there anymore. So that one at least. All right, guys, the A's and the Rays. And we're going to talk about that right now. Guys, your thoughts on the Oakland A's playing in Sacramento and the Tampa Bay Rays playing at the Yankees training camp facility in Tampa. Now, I saw a Rays game when the Pirates played. It's a nice looking facility for the Yankees. I'm not sure exactly. I haven't watched an A's game to see what the Sacramento site looks like. We'll start with you, Ray. Your thoughts, the A's and the Rays.
Yeah, I think two struggling franchises who are trying to make it work. The A's obviously moving to Las Vegas, and the Rays trying to make it work in Tampa Bay. And for the Rays, they've actually had good teams, but they've always struggled to bring fans into their home stadium. So, natural disaster is the reason that the Rays are playing in the Yankees facility. We'll see if that, has any effect on Tampa building a new stadium for them. I think they're a candidate to maybe move just in the way the A's are. And it's funny, I was in Las Vegas. It's in September for the Steelers-Raiders game. They are building that new stadium right smack dab in the middle of the Strip. They tore down, demolished one of the older hotels, and right in the middle of the Strip, they are building a new state-of-the-art baseball facility. So Las Vegas is going to have that franchise in a few years. But, yeah, for the time being, we're going to see both teams playing some smaller stadiums. It's not a bad thing, I don't think. I think it's just the way, the finances of the games are right now. But, certainly a little unique as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Major League Baseball has to do something about these finances, Ray and Brian. I think they need to get a salary cap. It'll never happen. These owners will never approve of it. Manfred, the commissioner, he's a waste. The only thing he worries about is money. So, I mean, there's no talk about a salary cap. They're trying revenue sharing. It's still, we're still in the same predicament here with all these small market teams. Pirates, they're doing it to themselves. I don't even want to talk about the Pirates anyway. Brian, your thoughts on the A's and the Rays?
My thought is, because I didn't know that they were actually doing this, but my thing is, look at the money that they're going to lose of all the endorsements. I mean, you got new fans, like the young generations that are coming up. They're not going to have anybody for both of these teams. They're not going to have anybody to go to. Where they're going to go now with them going to Las Vegas. That's going to be an interesting sight if they're going to put it right down there on the strip. I mean, there's going to be a lot of people there. I mean, what are they going to? Are they actually going to go to fill it, or is it going to be like most of the baseball stadiums empty? My concern is just the money issue. Can both of these teams being away from their hometown, is it going to be a factor in the whole entire thing? And that's just my opinion.
Here's the problem: is attendance. Nobody goes to these games. But my question is here: is the Las Vegas fans going to do like in Florida, where the Marlins and the Rays cannot draw because of the heat? All right, are they going to create a ballpark with a retractable roof in Vegas, or are they just going to create a ballpark and it's 100 and some degrees? And I've been in Vegas with that desert heat like that. I've been in Vegas in all 4 seasons. At least once in all 4 seasons. So I know, and I almost moved to Vegas. So I understand what Las Vegas is all about as far as the weather goes down there. And I mean, it's nice in the wintertime, 70 degrees, but in the summertime, you can fry an egg on the sidewalk. I mean, that's watch Vegas Vacation. He throws the chicken down onto the rocks and it's just fried chicken. So, I mean, but it's serious, though, with that. And are people going to go to these games and sit out in that heat like they do in Florida? They don't go because of that. And, also the team stinks, too. So,
Well, I do think, Ralph, that it'll be a novelty for a while in Vegas. I think you'll see people going out there to vacation. They'll go to a game, and then they'll spend their other 4 or 5 days on the strip like they normally would. But does it have staying power, right? I mean, it's easy for the Raiders to go there. They only have 8 or 9 home games a season. It's easy to sell out that stadium. Baseball is a different story. You're going to have 81 home games. And, I think it'll be successful for the first couple of years. But, again, staying power. Can you draw those fans in year 5, year 10, year 20? Tampa Bay and Miami, we've seen it in those hot weather destinations. It doesn't always work.
No, it doesn't. Not at all. Brian, your thoughts here before we move on. You have any final thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, I got another one. It's like Ray said, it's about the heat, like you did to Ralph. It's about the heat. Nobody's going to come. If I have, I'm just going to put it this way. I have a kid that's 6 years old. Do you think he's going to go actually to a ball game that's 100 degrees or more just to go sit for 2.5 hours or 3 hours just to go watch a baseball game? He's going to be up, moving around. I'm hot. I want this. I want that. You're going to spend a lot more money going into these ballparks that are extremely hot, especially down there in Las Vegas. And like Red said, it might take a couple of years and it's going to be a failure. And then what are you going to do? I would put the roof on it. I would put a roof and see how that goes. And,
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what, though? The problem I have with that, Brian, is will that stadium or that ballpark turn into a relic like the Rays ballpark is? I mean, they had a retractable roof on there and no one wants to go to it. I mean, it's a relic. Okay. It's as simple as that. And, and I don't know if they're going to, I believe they're trying to find a way to get a new ballpark built altogether. I know there's been some issues of it, whether it's going to be in Tampa, if it's going to be in St. Pete. I know, Peter Blake of the Sports Web, Amped Up Sports, has spoken about that. I know Leo's Haggerty, who's usually on the show here, he's at the women's Final Four. So, I mean, those guys have said, and I quote, that, where's the Rays State new ballpark going to go? And would the public even fund it? Because they don't support it right now. And that's an issue. And that's a huge issue there in Tampa as well, and the new Las Vegas Raiders, or I mean the A's. Gosh Almighty, everything from Oakland's moving there. So, but anyhow, the UFL, by the way, we're going to talk a little bit about their expansion. They want to expand into Oakland. They're talking about Oakland as one of their expanding teams. Scott Morganroth did an interview with Daryl Johnston. Check it out on his YouTube or X channel, and also check out he did an interview with Daryl Johnston a few weeks back, and Daryl's talking about expansion. Let's talk a little bit about that right now, guys. We'll start with you, Ray. They're going into some cities where there's no NFL team, because if you go into a city where there's an NFL team, you're not going to make any money. Let's take a look at St. Louis on the other hand. Last couple of years, St. Louis has sold out. San Antonio has done pretty well for themselves. Or the Arlington team, which is the outside of outside of Dallas and all that stuff. I don't want to hear about your cheap viewer stuff there, dude. So anyway, but thank you for watching and commenting. I appreciate that. So anyway, go ahead, Ray. We'll start with you. UFL.
Yeah, I mean that's a good sound business plan. They do have some former NFL people involved in that. Daryl Johnston, obviously former Cowboys player, and here in Pittsburgh, Doug Whaley, former Steelers scout and former Buffalo Bills GM, has been involved in the UFL as well. I think he still is. He's also doing some work for the Pitt football team. But
Hines Ward was a coach. Rod Woodson was a coach. There's been a lot of former Steelers people in Pittsburgh. Bruce Grakowski, I don't know if he still is the offensive coordinator with the St. Louis team, the Battlehawks. So, I mean, there's been a lot of guys from the Pittsburgh area, Ray, and I agree with you on that have been involved in this. But do you have any further comment?
Yeah, it's a good sound business plan. You don't want to expand in a market like Pittsburgh or Philadelphia or New York, because they have the NFL, and they're going to view the UFL as an inferior product. So that's a niche sport, or a niche thing.
A niche market.
They got to get other cities interested in it, and it's not going to be the major markets.
Oh, absolutely. Brian, your thoughts? UFL expansion.
My thing about the expansion is like, okay, I live in South Carolina. We have the Carolina Panthers, and then we have the Atlanta Falcons, and it's 3 hours apart. I mean, my thing is, where can they put another team like Oakland? That would be a good one. But with them moving, let's just hypothetically say they're moving to South Carolina, where could they actually put a team? Because South Carolina does not have a professional team in the state of South Carolina. In some of these other places, where can they put a UFL game at?
Right.
It's more about the city, the counties, the state legislations about how much they're going to grow. I know years ago we had here in Greenville, we had some kind of football team. It was the arena football here.
Right.
And
exactly.
it did a little bit okay, but then again, after a few years, it just tanked. And now, I mean, right now they're trying to do hockey and where I'm at, and it's going pretty good. We got 2 new baseball teams in South Carolina. Well, not South Carolina, but right here in the upstate, we have the Spartan Hub Spartanburgers, and then you have the Greenfield Drive. That's the minor teams, and that's actually been hitting off really good as well. So, I mean, it is what it. I mean, you got to put the football. Everybody likes football, but with me, you got to look at the city and the counties of where they're going to put it at. So that's
absolutely, and they have to look at are they going to support these teams, like you said, Brian, and Ray. That's a good question. Here's 3 teams that they're looking at as of right now. They are looking at the let me see here. Okay, San Diego, which makes sense because they lost to the Chargers. Okay, but I don't know. Would they support this team? That's a good question. Also, Portland. Portland's not a bad idea, but now they want to put one in Harrison, New Jersey. I mean, come on. You got the New York Giants that play at East Rutherford, New Jersey. Why would you even consider this? And we had a New Jersey team that was there, and it didn't work out. So again, I hope they're not doing that. They were talking about Canton at using the Hall of Fame stadium. I didn't see anything lately about that unless they're going to wait until 27 or 28 to get into the Canton team. And, the Maulers have struggled with fans over the years. And, of course, that stuff about having us go to somewhere, other stadiums somewhere across the country and play football. A lot of people here said that's unacceptable. All right, next.
Ralph, look at
Yes,
this.
good, Ray.
Look what I got here. Pittsburgh.
Oh, you got an old Maulers program. Oh, my gosh.
Maulers 1984 media guide. This was given to me by, I believe, Bill DeFabio.
Oh, yeah, I remember Bill. You know what? I went to a promotional event with him on the old WTAE, which is the station I'm on now at 12:50 a.m. We went down to Wheeling Island, and, I was involved in a promotional thing with him.
Mike Rozier, remember him? But
yes, I watched him play, Ray. My church went and got group tickets. We went and watched the Maulers get their butts handed to them. Was it 52-10 or something? Jim Kelly and all them.
I do think what you want to avoid with all these teams, like Canton, would be a good idea. I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but you want these smaller capacity stadiums. You don't want these teams playing in 60, 70,000 seat stadiums because you're only going to have 5 or 10 or 15,000 fans there. So, those smaller types of venues are probably where they should be heading. So we'll see if that happens.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you 100%, Ray. All right, we're going to move on to our next topic. And we have several of them today. We're going to be wrapping up a little early. Ray and I both have other commitments, so we need to wrap up a little early today. So that's what we're going to do. We're in the Mata Heating and Air Conditioning Studios, 724-201-0500. Mata Heating and Air Conditioning. Look, you too can be like Mata Heating and Air Conditioning by calling 412-545-4317 or Ralph Williams 737@gmail.com. For sponsorship advertising with RW Media Productions, very affordable rates, 2 radio shows, 6 podcasts, and an ad on my also an ad on my website, www.rwmediaproductions.com. I'm telling you, you cannot beat these affordable rates. Please call today. And also don't forget to email me as well, ralphwilliams737@gmail.com. So there you go with that. All right, next, the NFL draft. We're getting closer and closer to the NFL draft. We'll start with you, Brian. Your thoughts on the draft. Who's gonna do what here? And Ray and I will be talking about the Steelers later on in our My Town. So go ahead, Brian.
My thing is, this year, I have never seen it as it's going on with the draft. I've never seen it where it's all confusing. Nobody knows what anybody's going to do right now. And I think usually you could find out, okay, well, this guy's going here. If you look at some of the big mock drafts, they're listing every day of a new mock draft. I don't think they know what's going on because, like some people said, you haven't had the big teams. Hey, we're thinking about making a trade. There hasn't been a big trade yet. And is it going to be it's going to be crazy. And you could see the draft. If somebody picks somebody up, the whole draft is going to be a mess anyway, and it's just one of those things where you have to stay tuned because what they're reporting now is Shedeur Sanders could be not a top draft now. He might be in the second round is what they're saying. And you just never know. Look at the quarterbacks. This class that I look at, it's not as good as I thought it would be. I think next year is going to be the bigger one. So you just got to hit and miss, and a lot of teams are going to hit and miss sometimes. And you just got to watch out for the big hitters, and you never know what is in somebody because nobody's releasing anything as of some of the NFL teams. They're keeping it secret this year. So
yeah, it seems that way.
Yeah, they're keeping it big secrets.
Big time. Usually that's not the case, Brian, because usually with social media right now, you can't even blink and no one knows what you're doing. So that's as simple as that. But it's a secret. Nobody knows anything. Okay, Ray, your thoughts. The NFL draft. What do you think is going to happen this year? Your prediction?
Yeah, it seems like Cam Ward is probably going to be the number 1 pick. But listen, if Cam Ward would have come out last year, he probably would have been the 4th or 5th quarterback selected. So, to your point, Brian, this quarterbacks class is not strong. And I think in turn, this draft is probably going to be one that's a little bit harder to predict. Now, there are a lot of good players in this draft. There might not be like those all-pro types in the top 10. You will have a Travis Hunter who's probably going to be a really good pro. There's a couple other guys, but I think this draft is going to be known more for its depth than its star power. And I know that might be a little bit boring for some NFL fans, but you're going to be able to get good players late in the first round. You're going to be able to get good players second and third round. That's what this draft in 2025 is all about.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that, Ray. And what's interesting, there are a lot of defensive tackles in this draft, a lot of them that could be picked in the first round. So you could see a defensive tackle type of first round in quarterbacks. There's a few running backs out there that are worth first round pick, like the guy from Boise State, that Genety or whatever his name is there. Mm-hmm. That guy, as well as a few other guys. The one from North Carolina might go in the first round. Steelers, I'm told, are looking at him. I've seen a ton of mock drafts. And so, by the way, I get out and about here, and I was in Ocean City, Maryland recently, and I walked the boardwalk, and I asked some people who they think the Steelers might take. I met 5 people who have moved down there, and I said, who do you think the Steelers are going to take? And they said the Steelers are going to take a long snapper in the first round. So I just want to let everyone know that. So there you go. All right. Anyway, I talked to some surfers. So go ahead, Brian. What were you saying?
That's funny. I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to put this out there. Yeah, I think Cam Ward is going to go first, like Ray said. But after that, it's going to be Helta Skelta. Here we go. I'm ready for the draft.
I think the 3 best quarterbacks are Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, and Shadir Sanders. Them 3 are probably going to go in the first round, if maybe the second round. Who knows? The rest of them, they're all 3rd and 4th or more picks. You got that kid from Minnesota. Steelers are. There was a mock draft I saw. Steelers are going to take him in the 7th round, maybe. Steelers are looking at that guy from Louisville. How's his name pronounced? Ray Sloth or whatever.
Tyler Shock.
Shock. Okay.
Shock.
It's actually not even spelled that way.
The G8 is like a CH.
Yeah. There you go. So I mean, and a lot of teams that you think are going to take a quarterback might take an offensive tackle, or some strange thing might go on. Hey, I know you guys remember this maybe when L. Davis drafted what's his face, the kicker. I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head right now.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Yeah, Sebastian Janikowski in the first round. And then the second round, he took Shane Lechner, the punter. And then in the third round, he took a long snapper. He said we were having trouble with special teams. I dressed special teams in the first round. I laughed my butt off. I was like, wow. That one, and I think you guys will agree with me, and we'll start with you, Brian. I think that one was a strange draft. And then the one where Mike Ditka gave up his whole draft for Ricky Williams. I thought that was one of the funniest things. We'll start with you, Brian. Your thoughts. Which draft do you think was kind of strange or kind of funny?
I was going to go to Mike Ditka on that one. That one was probably the biggest one. And I'll tell you what, with Mike Ditka, when he was the coach, you never know what he was going to draft. I mean, with the old Dallas, too, you didn't know who they were going to draft. There's a bunch of them that I could think of that's been a crazy draft. And Mike Ditka just – I mean, when you said Mike Ditka, I was like, oh, shoot, here we go. Because that's just one of those drafts where you just like, okay, really? Where did that come from out of left field? I mean, like you said, with the punters, I mean, you never go in a draft going, okay, I'm going to pick a punter, then I want to pick this, I'm going to pick that. That was just strange. I mean, I've never heard such, but that's just one of those things. So, Ralph, you hit that one. I was thinking of Mike Ditka on that one.
Yeah, it was so funny. And then he's lighting up a cigar, and he went to interview me. He says, I don't need anybody else. I got the greatest player in the draft. I'm going to go play golf.
Yeah. I remember when he drafted William Perry back in those days too. That was kind of like, okay, we got him now.
William Perry won a Super Bowl. Ricky Williams got out of the league, and it's caught smoking pot and all that other horse he could do. They end up doing acting and camera things. And I don't know what he's doing. I think he's cleaning toilets or something. I don't know. Who knows? All right, Ray Fittipaldo, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, hope springs eternal with the draft, right? I mean, every year fans of their teams think, oh, we're going to get so much better in the draft. How about 2013, Ralph? That is going to
Okay.
go down as one of the worst drafts ever. If you want to do a little exercise for one of your future draft shows, pull up the 2013 draft and look at how many busts there are. Yeah, most
Oh,
years
my gosh.
you're going to get good players, but there's every so often, maybe every decade or so, there's a year like 2013, just not a very good year for talent.
Next week, when Scott and Leo come back, we are going to talk about the NFL top 10 draft busts. That's what we're talking about next week. And we're going to start doing some top 10s here on the show every week and go over some different things like the greatest quarterbacks ever in top 10. Have some fun with this top 10 running backs in the league, that kind of thing. I love top 10s. I think they're pretty great. And they're good show material and everything else as well. So we're going to be getting into that next week as well. All right, guys, let's get into our I know I said we were going to stop a little early. Let's get into our My Town. Let's go with Ray Fittipaldo. Go ahead, My Town. What's going on with you in Pittsburgh other than the Steelers?
Steelers had Jackson Dart in for a top 30 visit on Friday. They had a bunch of other prospects in as well. They've really been focusing on quarterbacks, receivers, running backs, and defensive tackles throughout this pre-draft process. I think it's a pretty good bet. It's going to be one of those four positions in the first round. But Ralph, you know this. Quarterbacks always drive attention. When people heard that Jackson Dart was in here yesterday, there was a little bit of an uproar. So, we'll see if it's a quarterback. I still doubt it. I still think they're going to go D-line in the first round. But, Jackson Dart was in town, and that was a little bit of a headline here in Pittsburgh on Friday.
Let me ask you this, Ray. Do you think the Steelers will trade up, try to get a cut, or actually trade up, get Jackson Dart, then trade down and get a defensive tackle both in the first round? You think the Steelers could pull something like that off?
I think it's hard because they don't have a second-round pick. They traded their second.
That's right. I forgot they traded that. I thought maybe, the con man, Mark Con might have got it back. You know what I mean? Or get it back.
You could trade future picks. I just think it's going to be hard to trade up this year. But to your point, Ralph, if some of those defensive tackles are available when the Steelers pick and they want to trade back and maybe get back into the second round, let another team come up and take their spot, maybe they could trade back, still get a defensive tackle at the end of the first round, and maybe you get an extra second round pick in return for that.
Who is the let's get Brian into my town, and Ray, I'll ask you about something else. Brian, go ahead, your town. What's going on in South Carolina?
Well, there's actually a spring game today at Clemson. And
wow. Right.
Yeah, so it starts at 1. They're not going to be televised. They're not going to do it. But there's a little battle between the new scoring system that they've created. And I was thinking about this last night, and this is how it's going to go. A TD plus PAT equals 7 points like a normal. Field goals equals 3. A safety equals 2. Okay, now that's the offense. Now they're going to change it where defense is going to be points. So if the kicking team misses a field goal, that's where 3 points. Fourth down stops is 3. Takeaway is 3. 2-point conversions stops 2. 3 and out 1, and missed PAT 1. That's how they're going to score it. It's an unevangelized concept of football, but I think it might work. I would love to go see it, but I got things to do around here, and I'm pretty sure that the traffic is going to be picking up in a little bit where I live at. I mean, but that's just some of the stuff that's going to happen today at Clemson. And we got they said that there's people in Greenville that are going to the Comic-Con. There's all kinds of wrestlers going to be there. I think I heard that Sting's going to be there. That they interviewed. They're going to have, I think Jason's character, one of his characters. I don't know which one it is, but I think that's what's going on. You got all kinds of festivals going downtown this week. So it's a lot going on where I'm at. So yeah, we got the spring fling going on in Easley, near where I live at. So it's going on, all kinds of stuff. Also, the baseball team at Clemson is playing in California. They won last night 6-4. And so is the softball team playing at Stanford today, and they're playing at 5. Both teams are playing at 5 o'clock today. So that's what's going on in here around me.
All right, my town. Thank you, Brian. The Pirates had their home opener yesterday, 9-4. They lost, and everybody in the entire PNC Park. I don't know, Ray, you might have been there. I don't know. I can't get media credentials anyway. So, were you there, Ray?
No, I was watching on TV though. It was sickening.
Yeah, well, they're yelling out, nutting, sell the team, nutting, sell the team. So what's happening is Bob Nutting is, getting this heat from the Pirate fans, and I don't blame them. And, so that's what's going on here. And, that's my town. Also, the Penguins are finishing up their season. Another disappointment, didn't make the playoffs. And when they do, they don't win anyway. They're like the Steelers. So, I mean, so that's my town with what's going on here. We have a Comic-Con going on as well at the Monroeville Convention Center, where they have the Happy Days group. All right, I have an important phone call I have to take. So Ray's got some business he's got to handle. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you. We'll start with you, Brian, and then Ray.
Okay.
Go ahead, Brian.
Okay, my mic was off. You can find me on you can follow Tiger Stripes Media on this thing here. You can follow me on Odyssey, YouTube, Twitch, and also I'm trying to get a podcast going, and you can find me on Spotify and all that too, and under Bryan Pettit or Tiger Stripes Media.
All right, Ray FIDEPALDO. I'm sorry about the interruption, guys. I got some important business that I'm getting ready to handle, and now it's starting to come around. Go ahead, Ray.
Yep, you can find me on Twitter or X at RayFit1.
All right, thank you, Ray FIDEPALDO and Bryan Pettit for being here today. We'll be back next week. We have a full hour. Scott Morganroth, Leo Haggerty will be back to join us, and we'll have some guests of our choosing. Until next week, this has been the Sports Wrap, and we're going to wrap it up right now. You got everybody. Please have a very safe and blessed day. Till next week, have a good one. Thank you for tuning in.